Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. We're going to make a pecan pie. Now, this pecan pie is hopefully not going to be quite as rich as most pecan pie recipes because we're going to substitute a little bit of applesauce. That's half a cup. And I just get these containers because it's already measured out for me. That's 4 ounces. And we are able to cut out 2 tablespoons of butter when we use the applesauce. Alright, now this recipe came from a women's club and garden club, a whole bunch of women all over the state of Virginia back in the 60s just combined all their recipes, and I do remember at the time some of the girls in our office were afraid to try this applesauce in the pecan pie. So I daringly was the first one who tried it, and I've been using it ever since. I really like it. It cuts down a little bit on the sweetness. Sometimes a pecan pie can be really overwhelmingly sweet. So I really like it. Anyway, I hope you'll try this. It's very, very easy. You'll need a 10-inch or a 9-inch unbaked pie shell. Now I make my own, and I'm going to leave a link down below in the description because I've done a video on how to make this pie crust. It's very, very easy. Alright, now we've preheated our oven to 400 degrees, and so now we're going to get started mixing this up. You will need 3 whole eggs, just 2 tablespoons of just slightly melted butter, 1 cup of light brown sugar. Now, I might make a note here that in the 1960s, I don't recall there was any such thing as light brown sugar. It was all dark brown. But the light brown, I think, works best in this recipe. Alright, and we're going to need Karo syrup. Now, the Karo syrup, in fact, I've gotten down to the bottom of the barrel on this one. It's just the dark Karo syrup. And you'll need 3/4 of a cup, and of course 1 cup of pecan halves, and we're going to use a little dash of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 whole eggs. Alright, so to our 1 cup of light brown sugar, let me move this down so you can see. Just going to kind of break that up a little bit, and add the 2 tablespoons of butter. You want to make sure that's not hot. It just needs to be slightly melted. So we'll just mash that up a little bit into the sugar. Let me zoom in a little closer. There we go. That makes a better picture, I think. Okay. So next, I'm just going to put in what would really be the equivalent of about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm just taking it out of my shaker, just about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And just kind of mix that all around. Now, you really don't need an electric mixer for this. You can actually just do it with a whisk. Alright. Now I'm going to add my eggs in. This is 3 large eggs. Just beat that up a little bit while it's still in the bowl. Makes it a little easier. A little information on eggs. If you break an egg and it's really super watery, that means the egg is very fresh. So that's how you can tell a super fresh egg. If you have chickens, which some of you probably do, and you go out and get an egg from the chicken coop and you break it, it will be very watery. And of course the freshest eggs are the best for sure. Alright, so now we've got our eggs in there. We're just going to use the whisk and get that all mixed up. Now, you don't have to worry about the brown sugar being dissolved, you know, like you would want it if you were making a cake, because with the temperature of the oven, you know, the sugar will super dissolve. Now if you use an electric mixer in this, it ends up turning a lighter color, so I just prefer to use the whisk for it. Okay, next we're going to add 4 ounces of applesauce. This is just one of those little cups that you get, a pack of 6. This is 4 ounces, so it's half a cup of applesauce. Now, in the 60s, when I first started making this type of pecan pie, you would have to open up a whole can of applesauce in order to make it. And then they had little smaller, little T90 cans of applesauce, but it was still more than 4 ounces, so we still ended up wasting some. And at one point, I actually used baby food applesauce in mine. All right, we're going to go ahead and add the applesauce. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and add the Karo syrup. And that's 3/4 of a cup of dark Karo syrup. Just mix that all in. I think I'll use my whisk again. Next thing we're going to add is 1 teaspoon of pure almond extract. And I do shake mine up because that stuff, the flavoring tends to get some more solids at the bottom of the bottle. Alright, so 1 teaspoon. Pure vanilla extract works best. I'm just going to mix that up with my whisk. And you really won't know that there's any applesauce in here because the texture of applesauce is pretty much the same as if you didn't use it. It makes, I don't know how to describe it. It's a little thickened area in the pie right under the nuts that has sort of a little bit of a texture to it, and the applesauce is also like that, so it actually goes pretty well. Now this is going to be very, very soupy, and that's part of the reason that you started off at 400 degrees in the oven. Alright, this is all there is to it. Now, I always dump my nuts in. Some people put them in the pie shell. Some people kind of try to position them on top. I just dump mine in because I want them all coated, you know, with this mixture. They're going to float to the top as it's cooking anyway. Alright, all we've got to do is dump it in the little pie shell. It's really that easy. Now, I usually make these pecan pies, I usually make 2 at a time because a lot of times I'm making them at Thanksgiving and at Christmas. So you want to just kind of float your pecans so that they're sort of evenly spread out. And there you have it, 1 pecan pie. Alright, we're going to bake this at 400 degrees for 15 minutes, and without opening the oven, we're going to cut the temperature down to 325 degrees and bake it for an additional 30 minutes. Now, to check and make sure it's done, you can just put a little toothpick an inch or so from the center and see if it comes out clean. But the time I just gave you for the 15 minutes at 400 degrees and turn it down to 325 for 30 more minutes, pretty well ought to get it all done. Alright, when this gets done, we'll be back. Okay, the pecan pie is all done, and I've just taken it out of the oven. You can see how nicely the pecans kind of equal themselves out. And I'm going to wait till this cools, and then we'll be cutting a piece, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, we'll be back in a little while. Okay, here's a slice of the pecan pie. We're getting ready to have some after lunch. Anyway, this is pecan pie made with a little bit of applesauce. Alright, see you next time.